We're going to look at the unit circle and describe how sine and cosine come from this. This is a unit circle. It has a radius of 1. You can see here that it's 1 out this way. The radius this way is 1. Taking from the centre to the left is -1 and -1 down here. So the unit circle has a radius of 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the radius of 1. We're going to actually draw a right angle triangle there. So the angle is the angle from the positive x direction. So this here would be something like about 60 degrees or 45 degrees. This would be 90 degrees. If you go from here all the way around, that's 180. All the way around to here would be 270. And from there, going in an anti-clockwise direction would be 360. So over here is 0, 90, 180, 270, 360, and we always go anti-clockwise around the circle, starting at 0 over here. All right, the angle that we have here on this right angle triangle, if we make a point here on the circle, point xy, well, the distance out here is called x, and the distance up here, which is equivalent to the y coordinate here, would be y. And what I've done is done x and y written so you can see the right angle triangle. Now we use this to develop what sine is equal to. The sine is equal to the opposite. Now the opposite is y and the hypotenuse is 1, so it's y over 1. So that means to us that y is the sine of theta. So we can define this distance here, which is the vertical height of the triangle, as the sine value. This works also for cosine. If you take cosine of the angle here, that would be the adjacent over the hypotenuse. For this right angle triangle, would be x over 1. So what does that mean? That the x, which is the horizontal distance or width of the triangle, is the cosine value. So let's have a look at what that actually means for us. I'm going to go to GeoGebra and we're going to look at a unit circle there. Okay, this is an interactive, so you can do this yourself. If I take this point here and I make it really small, okay, this angle that is sitting here is really small. It's around about 10 degrees in this case. The y value, or in this case, it would be the sine value. The sine value is quite small and the cosine value is reasonably big, actually quite close to 1. And the y value would be like 0.2, I don't know, maybe 0.2 maybe. Okay, if we make it bigger, let's take that round. Okay, that means the horizontal value gets bigger and the x value gets smaller. Okay, and they're both positive still. So what happens as we get towards 90 degrees? Well, this angle here is around about 89 degrees. If we take it to take it to 90 degrees, then our y value actually reaches 1. Now what I'm going to do is going to put the values on here. Okay, let's do that again. So here we go. Let's just look at the red ones. Let's look at the y values. Okay, and now their y values are the sine values. And here it's quite small, and it makes sense as we get to the top of the circle, it gets closer and closer to 1. So here we go. When we've got sine of 90 degrees, that's why we get a 1 based on the definition that it comes from a unit circle. Taking it a little bit further, if we take it to about 100 degrees, okay, within that angle here, and the sine value works out to be about 0.985. As you'd expect, it's becoming less than 1 because it's the vertical distance here. Keep it going round here. If we keep going round and round and round, this gives us close to 180. It's 173 at the moment. That's the angle, theta, and the sine value is about 0.12. And if we go down here, what happens is that the sine value, because we're based on a circle, the circle has direction. Okay, so the y value here is negative 6.95. As we get closer to 270 degrees, you can see the angle here getting bigger. Okay, we get closer and closer, and it should end up as we get to 270, the red value becomes 1. So the distance, which is the vertical distance from the origin, becomes -1. So the sine of 270 is -1. And then we can carry around here and go back to almost 360 and then end up at 0 degrees. Okay. What happens also, just have a look at that. What happens to the cosine value? The cosine value is the x value. That is positive. And as you zoom it around here, you can see it becomes 0. And then it gets wider around here. Just look at the blue value. And it makes sense that it is just the x coordinate for that point that I'm dragging around. Okay, have a play with this yourself sometime.